What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Zero Mile ADV, a true beginner's guide to adventure motorcycling from the true beginner's perspective. And I think that it resonates more true than anything. I've been riding a lot, and I feel that I have been getting more comfortable on the bike. And today is an example of why you should always ride your own ride. The short of it is that the section from Steamboat to Eagle, Colorado is dirt roads, pretty like basic dirt roads. I could drive my truck on most of these roads. So nothing overly complicated or technical. So if you feel like you can handle a dirt road, you should be fine on this section. With that caveat, there are some riders who are really good in this group, and they're on big bikes. They're on 12. Actually, I think the fastest riders in the group are actually on 1250 GSs. So they're on the big BMWs. And they're ripping those things. And so here I am trying to keep up with these guys who ride a lot, and they're really comfortable on those bikes. They know the limits of those bikes. And what happened is I was trying to keep up with them. We were in this section where it just got really loose over hard. So it was just like basically a hard pack underneath with a lot of loose gravel on top. And so traction is very minimal. And I came into a corner way too hot, almost went way too wide, and then the corner dropped down. And as I mentioned, downhills are something I'm not that good at anyways. And so that I came around way too wide, and then it dropped down, and then it came to another corner, and I was just going way too fast, and it kind of put fear of God in me and made me realize like I just had to back off, slow down. Who cares how fast they go? I will catch up with them. It'll be fine, and ride my own ride. So no matter, take it from me, this is a lesson I know I should stick with, but always ride your own ride. Ride within your own limits. If they want to go faster and they can handle it, do it. But it's always more important to live to see another day. So aside from that, before I get into the details and we go into certain sections of the ride here in a minute, if you stuck around this far, subscribe, leave a comment below. Have you ridden the BDR? What did you think of the section from Steamboat to Eagle? Yeah, so with that being said, let's get into the details of the ride. All right, let's talk about the route. I pulled out another Iron Maiden shirt because I got a lot of good comments last time, so I pulled out another one for all you Maiden fans out there. Let's talk about today's route. For day one, one important thing to keep in mind is we went the opposite direction. So most BDRs, if you're going to do BDR, is south to north. We will talk about the importance of this later on and why I think if you're going to do Colorado, it would be better to do it the traditional way because of one section. However, I understand why the group I went with did north to south, because the northern section is much easier than the southern section. So for them, it gives them the guides, and our guides were amazing. Shout out to Chip and Ash. They were actually absolutely awesome. They both rip adventure bikes, so super awesome to have them on the trip. But it gives them an opportunity to see how riders ride. So if you can't handle the first 3 days, you're not going to be able to handle the last day through the San Juans, and so they can come up with alternate routes to get you around. So with that being said, and that caveat, we were going north to south, which is technically backwards, but we started in Steamboat, and yeah, let's get to it. So we started in the parking garage, kind of pulled out, met everybody at the hotel out front, and started cruising. Now, on our way out, you're going to kind of cruise. You've probably got a good 10 or 15 miles of pavement before you hit the dirt in Steamboat. And one thing to keep in mind with the riding in Steamboat is that this section of pavement, actually, there's a lot of cyclists there. So you will see a lot of bikers because Steamboat is like kind of a gravel bike haven, and they want to ride the same dirt that you're about to ride. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. As we started heading out, you hit this cool, small, like one-lane dirt road that heads out towards Stagecoach Reservoir, and this was actually really fun. Super cool road. Again, you do have to be careful because there's a lot of cyclists and trail runners and whatnot, and it follows the creek that kind of comes along out of the reservoir, but super cool. And Stagecoach Reservoir, if you've never been there, is actually a really nice place, but it's a fast, flowy, fun road. You can even see here we found another cyclist, so they're kind of all over the place there. Then you're going to hit another pavement section, and so you probably got another, after that cool short little section, couple miles of pavement before you hit the dirt again. And the dirt here is really fast. We were lucky that it rained the night before. It actually has been pretty dry in Colorado, and so we haven't had a lot of rain, and we actually have kind of like hero dirt conditions. If you know what hero dirt is, if you mountain bike, it's like the ground is wet enough to create the dirt to make it tacky, but it's not dry enough to be dusty. So it was like perfect conditions. So it was really fast and flowy. And then we eventually ended up at Lamar Lake, and this was kind of our first stop. So we'd been out for about an hour or so. At this point, if you need to take a bathroom break, there's some bathrooms and stuff there, which was a good spot to stop. Really cool lake. And it also kind of gave me an idea of the pace of the ride, because quite a few of the guys were pretty fast, and so kind of set the pace for the rest of the ride. I don't know what it is about adventure riders, but they love to ride fast. Like, you go on a Harley ride and everybody just kind of loves to cruise and not really rip, but you get on an adventure ride and people just love to rip. So then we are back out on the dirt, and actually it's pretty flat through here. So until you hit the first water crossing, this water crossing you see a lot in all of the Colorado BDR ads and the videos and stuff. The water actually was kind of deep, actually. Kind of surprised me, but it wasn't too bad. Pretty easy to get through. We let the whole group get through, and then we kind of continued on, and the roads got really kind of loose. So as I talked about in the intro video, if there's one thing I could go back and practice again for the BDR, would be loose gravel roads, because we spent a lot of time on loose gravel roads. So if you're new, and like for most of my channels for new ADV riders, there's a lot of just loose gravel roads. And then this is where then I realized a couple of things. I didn't realize that my bike was not good in regular off-road mode, especially in that loose gravel stuff. Far better in off-road pro mode, so that that rear wheel can slip, and far better. So I also realized the rest of the group kind of got ahead of me, because I hadn't really built a lot of confidence on that loose gravel stuff yet. So again, if I could go back and change one thing, I would practice a lot of loose gravel road riding, because there is just a lot of that through the Colorado BDR. Then we get up to our kind of first high altitude view section. So the very first kind of like big overlook that you get, which is pretty neat because you're up above. If you could see over the mountains, you would see Green Mountain Reservoir. So if you're familiar with Colorado, you're kind of like halfway in between Steamboat and the Silverthorne area, but you're kind of working your way southwest. So really cool view, super cool spot. And then it was just more kind of loose gravel roads, but now you kind of start pitching down. And so the next probably 5 to 6 miles is one lane, big loose gravel roads downhill. And so again, this is something I got far better at as the BDR went on. I got far faster, but the loose gravel roads would be something I definitely would practice a lot of. Then you kind of get to the bottom, and it's just a fast, hard packed road. So this road's really popular to get people over to the Colorado River for rafting and whatnot. And so this road actually was like really hard packed, not a lot of gravel on it. So it was almost paved, but it was dirt, and it was nice because it wasn't dusty. So this section is super fun. Then we stopped for lunch at the Rancho Del Rio access point, and a lot of people there again going for rafting, and they can camp up there. Pretty cool spot. If you haven't go, definitely support them. The family owns it's really cool and really nice. So if you're doing the BDR, definitely stop at the Rancho Del Rio. You can also get gas there. It's expensive because you're in the middle of nowhere, but really cool spot. Then we got to see Mabel, the dog. Super friendly dog, loved her ball, very friendly. Then from there, you're back on the pavement. So you cruise the pavement through a little town called Bond, Colorado, before you get back on the dirt. And here you can tell, if you're from Colorado, you can tell that you're getting close to the Eagle Gypsum area, because the dirt's just very red. And as you're coming, like even as you're going down the I-70 corridor, you see a lot of that red dirt, very iron dense dirt. I think it's iron that makes it so red. But this road again, a lot more hard pack, not as much loose gravel, some loose gravel sections, but I was again starting to build confidence again. So I was kind of more towards the front of the pack. I think I was sitting third at this point, and just getting better at carrying like 50 miles an hour down a dirt road. And then this kind of follows for just quite a while before you hit basically I-70. And I-70 is the main highway that runs east-west through Colorado. And so from here, you're kind of just ripping along the Colorado River. Really nice views, not a lot of traffic. I don't think I think maybe we see one car along the way, one or two cars, but you can pretty much rip through here. I think we were holding like 45, 50 miles an hour. Great road, good views, kind of wide open valleys, kind of like not traditionally what people think of in Colorado. You know, Colorado think of like the San Juans, which was the last day for us, but for here, it's just kind of big, wide open valleys, and you can kind of just rip. And then you kind of duck back into those red mountains, and in this area you can really see kind of the red mountains that I was talking about. And if you've ever driven the I-70 corridor, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you come into the town of Eagle, you see these kind of bright red mountains, and then you really know you're getting close to I-70 and it's not too much further. And again, you're just kind of one lane road ripping back down to technically Gypsum. So it goes Eagle, and then there's just a little neighborhood called Gypsum. Really isn't much of a downtown there. There's more stuff in Eagle. So if you are looking to stay, we actually stayed in Glenwood, which is only a maybe 15-minute ride down Glenwood Canyon. So a little bit further west. I think it's worth it if you're going to hotel it, because there's just a lot more options in Glenwood. So, and you can soak in the hot springs. Iron Mountain Hot Springs, which just opened a couple years ago, is really nice. And so you could actually stay in those hot springs, which would be really good. And then that was it. So the first day, as you can tell, pretty easy. Again, just a lot of loose gravel roads. So if I could practice anything, I talked about earlier how I like got in over my head, went way too sharp into a corner, big loose gravel roads. And so for this technically would be your second to last section. So if you're doing south to north, this would be the last section of the Steamboat. From the very last section is going to be very similar to this, because you're going to go north. If you're doing it traditional route, you're going to go north through Steamboat, and then you're going to go up to Steamboat Reservoir, and then up to the Wyoming border. Very, very similar. Nothing super challenging. Kind of big, fast, loose gravel dirt roads. So for all you beginners out there, and this channel is all about beginner motorcyclists, especially adventure riders, definitely practice the fast, loose gravel roads. It will make a huge difference. Now, spending basically a week consecutive on your bike, you'll learn really quick, right? I mean, I did. I got far more comfortable. But if there's one thing I can recommend, is definitely practice as much loose gravel roads as you can. That'll be super helpful. I have a couple other tips later on as we get into the more challenging sections. But for me, really fun day. I actually want to go back and ride this section on some other bikes and give it a go, because it's actually not too far from my house. So it'd be really fun just to kind of do it the traditional way. So with that being said, thanks for sticking along for day one of the Colorado BDR as we review the route. And if you haven't, we've got all the other sections coming up. So until then, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube stuff. It's free. So, you know, click that button. It does nothing. Well, it does some stuff, but it's free for you. So help the channel out. And until next time, stay safe out there.